Hi everyone, it's Heather. Welcome back into the Paper Castle. I'm back with actually an update video about the auction house where I take my stuff to every once in a blue moon to get appraised. I've only been there once before and it was not the greatest experience because I ended up getting a condescending man to appraise my stuff, and he was really rude and obnoxious. So I probably hadn't been there for, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years, something like that. But anyway, I've mentioned in the past in some of my videos that there were, some things that I wanted to go get appraised, and I finally got a chance to do it. So I took my items down to Rago Auctions, a very high-end, foofy-doofy auction house. I mean, they don't sell box lots or anything like that. They only sell, high-end stuff. But they do have walk-in Mondays, and 3 weekends out of the month you can go between 1 and 4, and they have art people there and jewelry people there, and then people that do kind of everything else. So it's like a mini Antiques Roadshow, which, since they are on Antiques Roadshow, I guess it is appropriate. The owner and his wife are on the show. So they're not there appraising anything on Walk-In Mondays. They let their minions do it. But anyway, it's really fun. It's interesting to see everybody's stuff come through. So I just wanted to show you guys the things that I brought with me and the appraisals that I got. So fortunately this time, I got a really cool guy. He was really funny and sarcastic, and he was actually there the first time I was there. And I was upset that I didn't get him that time, but I did get him this time. So I brought these 5 items for him to look at. And I also brought that portfolio of Grateful Dead and there's another print. The prints that I found that you guys have always been asking me about. I brought that to finally get that appraised. I got that, over a year ago now. So that went to the art lady. She called me first. Because you have separate numbers for art and jewelry and then the other people. So she called me and I gave it to her and had, showed her the COAs and all that stuff. And then she went behind a little magic curtain and, looked stuff up. So as I was waiting for her, my other number got called, and I went up to the appraiser and got all my items out. And so he took a look at them and he said, "So, what do you want me to tell you?" And I go, "I want you to tell me what they're worth." He goes, "Well, you got kind of a big mishmash of stuff here, don't you?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "Where'd you get all this stuff from?" I go, "Garage sales." He's like, "Huh, garage sales." He's like, "Did you pay a lot of money for them?" I go, "No." He's like, "Alright." He goes, "Well, let's look at what you have." He goes, "But you probably don't know much more than," he goes, "you probably know as much as I can tell you." He goes, "But, we'll see." I said, "Okay." So anyway, he looked at this piece first. This is a Sasha Brostoff plate. It's marked Sasha Brostoff, California on the back here. Very, very popular artist, mid-century artist who did, obviously, California pottery. And I had never seen the elephant, or this particular elephant plate before. So I told him that, and he said that he actually didn't know a lot about Sasha Brostoff, but he was assuming it would probably appraise for around $100. So right now I have it up for $200 just to see if I would get any watchers. So far, no. So I might have to drop the starting price if it doesn't sell at auction this week. But I only paid $3 for it. So then I showed him this vase that I bought at the lady's house where I got all the needlepoint kits and all the amazing stuff and made like excuse me, mega bucks off this lady. So I showed him this and he turned it over and he looked at it and it says Diebel on the bottom right here, which is not, you guys probably aren't going to be able to read. He goes, Diebel? He goes, "This American?" I said, "As far as I know." He goes, "Are you sure it's not Italian?" I said, "I'm pretty sure." He's like, "Never heard of him." So he looks at me and goes, "How much is it worth?" I go, "Isn't this supposed to be your job?" He's like, "Well, I'm just asking." He goes, "I want to see, how much work you're doing." And I said, "Well, for my research, it's worth like $100. He goes, I said, "They've sold for between 1 and 300. I said, "But right now they're only going for like 100. He goes, "Okay. So there's your answer, $100. Like, thank you. So not quite as informative as the Roadshow. It's funny when you watch the Roadshow and they have these very, very detailed answers, and it just seems like they pull all of the stuff right out of their head. They've been researching the heck out of these things before they even go on camera. Anyway, then I showed him this piece. This is my first piece of Roseville. I found this a couple weeks ago. Never bought Roseville before, mainly because I don't know too much about it. I don't know which pieces are the most popular, most desirable, and usually it's way too expensive for me to take a chance on. But this piece was in really nice condition, and I paid $25 for it. So he looked at this, and he's like, "Well, it's a nice piece of Roseville." He's like, "It's not horrible, like most of them." I said, "So I guess you're not a Roseville fan." He's like, "No, not really." He goes, "But it's not, all that offensive." And so I asked him, I said, "Is this the bittersweet pattern?" He's like, "Yes." I said, "Okay." And I said, "How much do you think?" He goes, "Well, how much do you think?" I'm like, oh dear Lord. So I said, "I'm thinking around $200. He goes, "And I think you're right." He goes, "See, I don't even know why you drove all the way down here." Oh, I said, "Apparently to, banter back and forth with you." But anyway, this piece is up now. I had it up for an initial bid, I think, of $64.99 with free shipping. Got a bid, and I have a bunch of people watching this, so I'm hoping this goes much higher. So then I had this book, The Knickerbocker's History of New York by Washington Irving, and it has 8 plates in it from, watch, I can't find one, from Maxfield Parrish. And I actually found this book, I found this book in the dentist's office that I take my daughter to, in her pediatric dentist's office. He had a box full of books, and it said, "Free, take whatever." I'm like, okay. So you know me, I'm looking up titles and trying to remember them, and then go back to my seat and look up stuff with my phone. And it turns out that this is a first edition. The cover is worn, but the inside is in excellent shape. This is a 114-year-old book. So, of course, I asked him about this one. He's like, "Well, with books, it's kind of up and down." He goes, "You can go on, ABE. I go, "Yeah, I went on there." He goes, "See, again, what do you need me for?" He goes, "What ABE say?" I said, "Well, ABE had a copy and it said, like, $1,400. I said, "But that was like, pristine condition." He goes, "Did you go on eBay?" I said, "Yeah." Because I had told him that, this is what I do. I sell things on eBay. And he goes, "What did eBay say?" I said, "Well, they're going anywhere from like $200 to $400. He goes, "I definitely say," he goes, "this is a $200 book." No. I said, "Okay." So he didn't really look this one up. He basically told me that I have the same resources that they do for the most part, except for art and stuff, which I guess they have other resources for. But he said try, obviously, eBay, try BidSquare, live auctions or liveauctioneers.com, and ABE for books. So I'll try and post those down below so you guys can have access to them. But he said that'll give you most information that you need on things. So then finally I showed him this piece, which is another piece that I got from that lady who I made like a mint off of. And I bought this piece because, and it's not going to focus here, but it says Herend under here, right here. Herend, Hungary, hand painted. And then it has 2 Hungarian words down here. So anyway, I showed this to him and he turns it over and he goes, huh, that's interesting. He goes, that's Herend. I go, yes, I know that. And he goes, huh. And he just kept, you know, saying that over and over again. Finally he goes, so how much did you pay for this one? I go, $5. He goes, I'll give you 10. I just laughed at him. I said, I don't think so. So he said, did you find the pattern? I said, no. I said, that's one of the problems. I said, I can't find this piece anywhere. So then, of course, he tries to look it up on his laptop, and we're like, I sit down next to him, and he tries to look it up on his laptop, and his laptop, like, craps out on him. Like, of course. But then he actually took this piece to, like, 5 other people who were appraising and was asking their opinions. So I actually stumped him on this one. He came back and he goes, you know what? He goes, I can't find the pattern. Nobody has seen it before. He said, if I were you, he said I would contact Herend directly, take a picture of it, and say, you know, I found this. I love this pattern. Can you please tell me what it is? Because I want to get more pieces of it. He's like, you know, lie to them. They don't care. They don't need to know. So, anyway, I do know that this first word here, E-P-E-R, it means strawberry. I have no idea what this other word means. It's F-E-R-E-N-C-N-E, I think. And I can't figure it out. If anyone knows Hungarian, you know what this word is, please let me know. But then my next question to him was, I said, well, first he told me, value-wise, he said, I would guesstimate. He goes, and I've talked to the, you know, other appraisers. He goes, I'd put a value on it of like $350 to $500. Like, wow, okay. So then I said, all right, well, when I put it up on eBay, I said, how do I describe it? And he said, I said, you know, is it a pedestal bowl? He goes, no. He goes, it's a tree-form footed lattice compote with applied fruits and nuts. He goes, because there's an acorn. I go, are you serious? He goes, yeah, why? I go, could you give me a more, like, snooty title for something? And he's like, hey, you asked me. He goes, I'm telling you what it's called. I'm like, okay. So anyway, I guess that's how I will title it when I finally decide to put it up. But right now, this is going to go back in the hutch, and I might contact Herend soon and try and get an answer out of them. So that's that. And then we have over here, which you can't see, right here, the portfolio. And the lady came back and told me that they actually sell better separately, which I thought was funny. I thought, you know, if you broke up the set, that would actually be worse. But she said they sell better separately, and she put a value on them of anywhere from $650 to $800, maybe a little more than that. And I told her I had an offer for $500 for all of them, and she's like, "Oh no!" She's like, "No way!" She goes, "You hold out for more." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm still waiting to hear whether I'm gonna get $600 out of that guy that works with my husband. He's kind of fighting my husband on it, but if he doesn't take them, then I guess I'll probably split them up and sell them separately on eBay. So that was my visit to the auction house. And oh, I have a quick funny story for you guys. My son recently got a job. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. Which I think I mentioned in another video, but haven't uploaded yet. I am so behind on uploading videos. I mean, my time management skills lately just suck. I have so much going on. I make them and then they just sit there. So eventually you're either going to get bombarded or they're going to come, like, you know, once every couple days. But anyway, he got a job at a grocery store, and he works in the shop right from home department, which means you're able to order your groceries online. You pay a flat fee of $10. You can order all your groceries, and then you pull up in this like secret squirrel parking lot in the back, and then the shop from home people come and bring all your groceries to your car. So that's where he works. So it had only been like the end of his, I think, second, maybe third week, and he got in the car and he was talking about work, and I said, you know what? I said, you're gonna have to, save all the funny stories for me. I said, when you get the weirdos. I said, because, eventually you're going to get weirdos. And he started laughing. He's like, oh, I've already gotten one. And I said, oh, tell me, I want to know. So he said there was this lady who was very particular about her produce. And I said, well, it's funny. I said, because I was talking to one of my daughter's friends' moms, and we were wondering how the whole produce thing worked, because, people are picky about that stuff. And he's like, well, at the end of your order, you're allowed 250 characters to tell everybody who's getting your food, like, if there's any specific instructions for getting your produce. So apparently this woman put, I want raspberries, and they all have to be very firm and not mushy at all. I want strawberries, and they all have to be red with a tiny bit of green at the top, no green at the bottom. Blackberries with absolutely no pink on them anywhere. And he goes, and then she said she wanted 5 bananas, and they all had to be 7 inches long. And I looked at him like I was crazy. I'm like, you're kidding me, right? He goes, I swear on a stack of Bibles, Ma, 7 inches long. I go, so what do? Like, take a tape measure? He goes, yes. He goes, we all have to carry tape measures in our aprons for things like that. He goes, so someone had to measure the bananas. Okay. So then I'm joking with him again, and I said, so when she pulled up to get them, I said, did she have a tape measure in her car? And he goes, yep. And I just started cracking up. I said, you're kidding. You're joking. You're not serious. He goes, no, I swear to God, Ma, she had a tape measure and she measured the bananas. So then we came home and we're telling my husband the story. And I said, he goes, so this is what you do all day? He goes, you're measuring people's bananas? My son goes, yes. And my husband goes, you know what? He goes, I don't care whose bananas you're measuring, as long as you finally got a job and you're working. And then he looks at me and he goes, you know what I can tell from that story? I go, what? He goes, I can tell 2 things about that woman. I said, what's that? He goes, number 1, she's single. Number 2, she is not using those bananas for their intended purposes. Oh my God. The 3 of us were just cracking up laughing. So anyway, that's my funny story for you guys. And that's it. I'm going to try and get this uploaded tonight. So happy Thanksgiving, since this is a couple days before Thanksgiving. So if I get it uploaded when it should be uploaded, you should see it in time for Thanksgiving. So have a great holiday, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.